Today we're going to listen to my viewers' K-pop hot takes. This is extremely sensitive topic and I intentionally made it anonymous because I know that these topics could possibly make a lot of people upset. Before going into this, let me preface, I don't necessarily agree with these hot takes. Second, this is for fun, please don't take it too seriously. Third, I don't want people to clip me laughing, me reacting and saying, oh, this guy is trashing blah blah blah. Because once we start to make people cancelled with the hot takes we share here, we won't be able to have open opinions with people. At the same time, some of the hot takes might be disrespectful and it's anonymous on purpose. You may feel free to disagree. I will disagree as well. Let's get started.
Hello.
Hi, go ahead.
My hot take is, I guess it is more of like a specific like demographic, but for me, I would just say that I don't really understand, like I'm black as well, so I don't really understand the people who say that all of K-pop industry is like racist because of certain things that happen. Like, unfortunately, I don't find it that deep, so I don't understand when people, I don't want to say overdramatic, but make it feel that way. Like, for example, there was this thing with BTS, their swim teaser. There was like this university that they used in the teaser, and then people said that that was racist of them because they didn't include like very many black people in it. And I was like, one, it really has nothing to do with you because it's more about them coming into like America and showing their music to the world, so it shouldn't be that serious. And it was mostly like Asians than just normal white people, I guess. So I don't really understand that. And even like with the mark thing, I genuinely don't think it's that serious because one, it's a t-shirt on a flag, nobody really cares. Like the first time I saw it I didn't understand it because like I've never seen that flag ever. And again, I feel like people shouldn't really take it seriously unless you lived in the time where that was that serious for you. So I don't feel like you should bring something from the past into the present and make it a huge deal. So that's basically my hot take.
Thank you so much. Really nice hot take. I'm not gonna try to share all my personal opinions about these hot takes, but I do have some comments about this one. Starting with K-pop is racist, my personal idea is I don't want to deny that there is a racist aspect in the K-pop industry. But when people say K-pop is racist and generalize everybody working in there as racist, I think that is too much of a generalization. When it comes to discrimination or inequality, we need to address specifically. If we just generalize, then even the people who were respectful were throwing them under the bus. In another sense, that itself, these kind of generalization is another form of racism where, oh, Koreans are racist. Oh, K-pop is racist. I feel like it's also racism towards Korea because ultimately a lot of bad racism comes from overgeneralization. And in terms of the BTS music video, I do understand why some people felt certain way, but I also do feel like I understand and BTS does need to be sort of sensitive because they are one of the most global, but also sometimes not represented or less people showing up. I don't necessarily think it's BTS disrespecting certain, but also I think that situation is a little bit more complex because that specific college had a different history. So it's also a mixed opinion there. With the mark sensation, I have my personal different feelings about it. I see where you're coming from. Here's my hot take. In terms of the flag, I think the flag is still wrong. The reason why is because it is a flag of the past. But then the reason why it is an issue in the present is because people still use it in the present in the wrong form. I wouldn't have thought it was a big deal if people still don't use it. But as someone who lived in Georgia, I told you guys, I seen those flags to the point where when I first came to America, I actually didn't realize that flag was representing certain things because I saw it in people's front yard a lot. I'm not just talking about one or two. And people's cars. And this is my hot take. You don't have to agree with me. We had a conversation about this even though I didn't upload to YouTube. I personally feel, specifically to Mark, I don't want to point fingers at him too much. The flag is wrong, but how much Mark is responsible for the flag. I'm saying it's wrong behavior should he be charged for his mistake. I feel like that's a different aspect, but I do think we need to avoid certain flags that could be offensive to certain people. Because there is the same flag in Korea with the rising sun flag of Japan that people feel the same way. Personally, not a type of person to get offended by flags or symbols, but that also might be because I never went through those sufferings, and I think that's kind of what the person was saying. But thank you. We'll move on to next hot take.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
My K-pop hot take is that like companies shouldn't separate idols just because we ship them.
Explain more.
Because for example, like when we ship Felix and Hyunjin into Hyunlix, like JYP, they kind of made Felix and Hyunjin separate a small bit, and like we could see that that made them sad.
Is this true?
I think I've seen it in like a YouTube short or something, where like they looked really sad.
Do you have more to elaborate or?
No, that's it really.
Thank you. I don't know anything about this. Next, go ahead.
So my K-pop hot take, well, it's not a very hot take, it's more warm, but I think that K-pop wouldn't exist without Black people. A lot of music types, if I can say, that are used in K-pop, even like hairstyles, choreographies, even like outfits, most of them come from Black people. And that considering that is just very crazy to me that there's so much racism, I guess, in like K-pop. Not that everyone is racist, but the company sometimes they'll do certain things and they're not welcoming Black people. Sometimes idols are being racist, whether it's by ignorance or because they know, and sometimes even the fans. And this whole thing just baffles me because whether it's in real life, like, in everyday life or in fandom spaces, Black people are really just not welcome, and I wish it would change. So yeah.
Thank you. I understand why they said it's not a hot take, but I also do know why they prefaced this. About Black people's influence in K-pop, 100%, 1000%. And I also want to add, that's also exact same way with American music as well. In fact, the songs that are charting globally are majority affected by Black music. Also, I'm not denying K-pop music in my mind is a mixture of influence from US, which is combination of white and Black music, with J-pop. That was how it initially started. If you look at early K-pop, it's a mixture of those two. And recently, there has been addition of Middle Eastern influence, Latin influence. So I actually think, you know how they call America melting pot of race? I actually feel like K-pop is the melting pot of music. And the reason why I think they specifically mentioned that it wouldn't exist without Black people is because they felt if it couldn't exist without it, then they should also be fairly treated, which I think that take is very valid. So it's not they were just trying to state the obvious, it's to support the statement afterward. Next, go ahead.
It's not as serious as everyone else's,
That's good.
but I thought Jake's puppy aegyo was cute. Bumgyu is the best at it.
I know exactly which particular ending you're talking about.
Yeah, it's just cute. Everyone's like, oh, top 3 worst. And I'm like, I kind of liked it.
Can I be honest? I like it because people make fun of him, but the man is just trying hard at his job.
I thought it was cute. Everyone's like dragging him.
I actually think it's professionalism. Thank you. You have any other hot takes?
One that's a little bit more serious. Half of the ships in K-pop is fan service, and people just take it too far. Like, you will see 2 idols touch or like glance for like 2 seconds, and they'll be put in a ship edit. And that's what I really don't like, because half of these ships are like, oh, top 3 ships, like, oh my god, they're in love. They spoke for like 2 seconds. And I think shipping goes too far sometimes because people want to see 2 men kiss, and it's a little bit of a fetish.
I agree, girl. I also agree in the fact that sometimes some ships are promoted by the company. And some ships are, those K-pop shipping TikTok edits where they just look at each other for 2 seconds and they put the music on.
They get that romantic music in the background and then zoom in with the red circle.
I think both exist. Any other hot takes?
I think that's it.
Thank you. Hello? Go ahead.
So my hot take is that Hybe is ruining the K-pop industry.
Hybe is ruining K-pop
Hybe.
industry? Articulate.
Okay, because I feel that they just keep making groups and more groups and like adding more artists and just for the money and getting more and more and more. And everything is focused on being more pop and it loses the essence. That's it.
Thank you so much. My personal opinion, my hot take about Hybe is I love a lot of Hybe artists and Hybe music. My issue is not necessarily Hybe itself, even though Hybe itself has some issues, is that Hybe becomes too dominant in the scene, and I'm afraid it might become a monopoly. I personally think music, especially K-pop, is better when there is competition between multiple companies and they each have different colors. My worry is if the entire K-pop might become Hybe-fied. Again, Hybe has the best music in the scene right now. So rather than I think we should bring Hybe down, I want other companies to step up as well, which is why I heard recently there has been more collaboration between SM and JYP, as well as smaller companies like KQ, Jellyfish, Cube, Starship. You get the idea. But alright, next up, go ahead.
So mine isn't really a hot take, but I think Sungho from Boy Next Door refusing to do the Pepero challenge is clearly okay. Because the pepero challenge is basically two people eat like the opposite ends of a pepero steak. It's usually played as a like flirty challenge, and he didn't want to do it because he was up against Jaehyun, his other bandmate, and people took it really far and criticized it. They criticized him, saying he's like homophobic, but I think it's okay because Jaehyun is a boy too, so I feel like he might have felt uncomfortable and he didn't want to do it, so he said no. And people like really took it like far, saying he is homophobic and stuff. But yeah, I think Songho refusing to do the pepper challenge is okay. And yeah, that's my hot take.
Thank you. Next up, go ahead.
Hi. I don't know if you consider this a hot take or not, but I think if a K-pop artist released a song that is not have Korean lyrics, then it is not K-pop, it's just Western pop. That's all, really.
Thank you. I think that's a valid hot take. We talked about the Grammys' new category of Asian pop music, and one of the categories' requirement was that the song has a use of Korean in it. I'm not necessarily saying they're correct, but I think it's also a valid take where a language determines what genre it is. Some people could agree, some people could disagree. Next up, go ahead.
I think some K-pop fans take fan service too literally. If like what Bangtan says he likes like curly hair girls, they're gonna be like, he likes curly hair girls. I'm his type. See, he's gonna fall for me one day. And yeah, that's basically it.
Thank you. I think that's funny. Next, go ahead.
So my hot take is like Hype clearly goes for one side of music.
I do feel like that is their recent strategy. I think everyone could feel that. I'm personally not the biggest fan of that either. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily saying it's a bad business strategy. Next, go ahead.
I have two hot takes, if that's okay. Okay, so my first one is that Brian from 82 Major is totally pregnant. Like, genuinely, that baby bump, it's there. He's gonna give birth soon. And my second hot take is that Laura needs to leave Cat's Eye. Like, genuinely. She would be so much better as a soloist. Like, I don't get why. Like, no. She needs to make, like, Manon and go on a hiatus. Like, her vocal range is so amazing. She's such a good singer. She's such a good performer. And she has such a good stage presence. But I feel like it's just, they're wasting her potential by putting her in a group where they have to eat zucchini and not gnarly their way to stage.
Thank you. I actually feel like that with a lot of artists in K-pop. But next up, go ahead.
So my hot take is I don't like the concept of biases that much. My reasoning for that is because it's kind of like picking favorites, and I personally don't like that concept a lot.
Any more articulation?
No.
Thank you. I actually understand where they're coming from because I think what makes K-pop fun is picking your bias. But also, if you've been in the K-pop scene, you will know 99% of drama and hate comes from one biased fan with another biased fan. That's where all the group drama starts. A lot of times, when people like to value the person over the group, I feel like that's when a lot of the dramas happen. So in that sense, if you're sick and tired of that, I think I understand that. Next up, go ahead.
Hi. So My hot take is that the only K-pop merch that people should be like buying is like albums and light sticks.
Why?
My reason is because I think that like the other things, for example, mascots, like those are like really overpriced, and most groups do have mascots, but I just feel like it's really overpriced for people, and I don't know, it's usually just for decoration.
Thank you. I don't necessarily think it should be you shouldn't buy, but I do agree in the sense where they are expensive. And I also understand why they are. It's because you're not paying for that product. If you were to buy that keychain, it would have been $5. But you're basically donating to the group while you get the merch as an event side piece. Same thing with my merch. When you pay for my merch, it's gonna be expensive because I'm gonna take all that money and feed myself. Next, go ahead.
My hot take, I want to agree, like, the things you said about Menondo, to a certain extent, though. The reason why they did add her to the group, I think, is for diversity, you know? At the same time, I don't know if they should have added her in there or not. Because I see how much, like, in Dream Academy, I watched it, and I think they did edit it to the point where it made her look like she didn't work. At the same time, like, I don't know how to explain it. They're making too much of a big deal about her leaving. Because I feel like if it was somebody like Yoonchae or Sophia, it wouldn't make that much of a big deal about her hiatus.
Are you saying from the company side or her side or both?
Maybe from both, I believe. And then I also have a second one.
Go ahead.
But it's about the fans. I think if you're like in Texas and there's a concert in California or something and you just want to go just because, and yet there's like a tour, like there's a concert in Texas, I don't think you should go because that's like ripping off the people in California. And that's it.
Thank you. I actually understand where they're coming with the second one. They're saying people who are dedicated fans, you know how they follow through the tour? I'm not saying I necessarily agree 100%, but they're saying they're taking away the ticket opportunity for the person who live in that city, even though there is already a concert going on in your own city. I feel like especially for more competitive groups, I think it's true. But also at the same time, I also do think it's their freedom. And if companies really didn't want it, they would have sort of limited it. But why would company not want that? But I also understand. In another sense, I think there's a case where there's a limited quantity merch and someone says, I have the money, so I'm gonna buy all the limited quantity merch. So I'm the only one who could have it. Technically, yes, you could buy it. And if the company didn't put a limit on how many you could buy, then I feel like company, if anything, should control those. But the person buying, you can't stop them. And I also do think it's a more dedicated fan behavior. And I don't think the artist would dislike a dedicated fan. Next up. Go ahead.
My hot take might be kind of random, but I've never heard anyone talk about this. So some idols are probably hella evil, but we have absolutely no idea because they are so media trained, and there's no way that every single idol we know is nice and awesome as we think they are. And nobody wants to believe that because obviously we love our idol and yeah, we're just glazing them way too much.
Thank you. This is my hot take. They said there are probably evil K-pop idols. My hot take is, I think the ratio of evil when it comes to musician is higher than regular people. As a musician myself, musicians be garbage. These people have trash social skill, trash mentality. I also do think people who are too mentally stable, it's hard for them to make good music. In reverse, a lot of great artists, I usually think it comes with some sort of twisted mental, including myself. If you feel like I'm normal, it's because I've been hiding it well. Not like Burning Sun level though. I'm not that level. This is not media training. You guys know I'm not media trained. Next, go ahead.
Okay, so my K-pop hot take is that the whole Hee-sung situation is like kind of getting blown out of hand because Hybe was brought together just to, you know, work and make music together. So if one member like leaves, it should be fine and not blown out of proportion because, I mean, they're just doing it for work. So, yeah.
Thank you. I actually disagree with this hot take. If you guys have seen me, you guys would know I love Evan. I've been listening to Overflow nonstop. I always liked him even when he was in NHypen. I personally don't view K-pop groups the same way as other jobs. I think the damage you do to the remaining members when you leave an existing group is too big. I never view an idol who leaves the group with a positive eye. But that's different from whether I like them as a person, whether I like their music. But I just feel like there's a heavier responsibility than regular companies, because companies are generally expecting the workers to leave anytime. And also, even if one of your teammates leave, that doesn't affect your paycheck, not significantly. But I feel like K-pop idols, when you're in a group, your life depends together. When one gets canceled for committing crime, when one leaves, I think it affects your choreography, your singing parts, your reputation, your tour schedule. I think there's too many things that are affecting the other members. I'm just always against member leaving. That's my hot take. Next, go ahead.
Okay, so I think that companies shouldn't be able to choose what idol gets to do the ending fairy, because I'm pretty sure whichever idol does the ending fairy would get more money, and like unfair, like choosing favorite.
I see. Thank you. I think what they're saying is the companies shouldn't get to choose who do the ending fairy because they're gonna get more money. I think it's the other way around. Well, first of all, generally, I think they take turns doing ending fairies. But even if there was a specific members that gets to do it more, rather than companies trying to pay them more, it's generally that member pays the company more. They make more revenue, and that's probably why they probably put them in a highlight. I know some people aren't happy about that, where one member gets more pushed than the other. Generally, a lot of the times, it's the public that particularly like members more than company pushing. There is company pushing, but I hear about this a lot, especially when it comes to Chang Won-young. Oh, she's getting all the spotlight. It's also, I think it's because she sells the best. Alright, go ahead.
So basically, my K-pop hot take is that so many young idols are being fetishized by older women usually. Like Longshot and Cordis, usually the minors, and the fans that always want to be called Nuna and Mommy by them. Like, I think it's kind of weird, and I think that people don't talk about it enough because they just want all of the fan service, but I don't think that should be normal.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think you guys remember the Cordis fan meeting where the girl said, "Slap me."
Slap me.
I think in this sense, the reason why is because society-wise, we're very sensitive about older guys liking younger girls. Because we're very sensitive and looking out for that, the reverse genders is sometimes looked upon. I also feel like it's not just the fans. Sometimes companies know that and they promote it. I also feel like it's sometimes just the dark reality of the industry itself for both genders. Next, go ahead.
Okay, so for me, I feel like a good hot take would be like, I feel like people criticize idols too much when it comes to like their dance moves or whatever. Like people like I feel like it's more generalized, but people will say like, I feel like a good example is Evan, like in one of his shorts, he had lazy movements and people kept saying like, oh, Evan's got lazy movements or whatever, but he was wearing tight clothing, and I feel like for a lot of idols, people should stop criticizing seeing the idols because it doesn't make sense. Like you can't blame them because the stylists are picking out their clothing, so when they pick out tight clothing, you can't really blame them because they don't have really good movements. I mean, if they had more looser clothing, they would have good movements, but with the tighter clothing, it's harder for them to have the good flowy movements usually with the different dances.
Thank you. I do think specifically with the Evan situation, it's also because there's a lot of people who are simply upset at him right now, which I think is also valid in some sense. So when someone's upset, then everything the other person do just doesn't look good. That's also, I think, the reason why. I think it's not just the dancing. I think there's also some to his songs as well, where I personally think Overflow is one of the best songs of the year, but I do see a lot of people saying the song's bad, and I feel like it's not just a musical reason, but also feelings. But I'm not saying they're wrong for that, because music, dancing, it's just about how you feel about it. So I don't think they're wrong either. But I do agree, he was in a tight clothing, skinny jeans. Next, go ahead.
I think something that a lot of fans do that I don't really agree with is all the idols in a group need to be good at everything. So, like, for example, Stray Kids. Stray Kids is like my ultimate group, so please don't take this as hate. But like, let's say Bangchan. Like, Bangchan is primarily a producer. Like, yes, he can sing, yes, he can rap, yes, he can dance too, but his main role is producer. And so he doesn't have to be the best at everything else. And then same with like Felix, like people saying like, oh my god, he's the best rapper ever, he's the best singer ever. Like Felix is the center of the group. He's the face of the group. That's what he does. Like his image and his personality, that's like his main what he gives to the group. Like that's his main value. And I think a lot of fans really just they think that their group needs to be the best at everything, and they think that their bias needs to be the best at everything. And it's honestly kind of frustrating sometimes because that's what leads to a lot of fan wars, and that's what leads to a lot of people who are K-pop antis like having that anti opinion because K-pop fans are so obsessive and think that, you know, their group is absolutely the best. Like, I'm not saying your group is bad, but they're probably not the best. Like, they can still be good without being the very top. That's mostly it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I agree with this take. K-pop idols do seem perfect and they are held up at perfect standards. But here's the thing. If they were best at singing, dancing, everything, basically Michael Jackson all around, they would have just became Michael Jackson. Why do you think they debuted in a group? Is so that they could make up and shine in their each individual aspect. That's why it's a group. And also, I think there's a trend in a group where certain groups tends to have similar quality among all the members, and certain groups, individual members have different charms and different strength. I feel like among all idol I know, Stray Kids is the one where individual members' strength is very diverse. I personally enjoy this kind better because there's a higher synergy when each member makes up for the other. But there's also a charm when it comes to when all the members are similar type because there's also synergy in the uniformity. I think the groups that reminds me of this is usually Islet, TXT, New Jeans. In comparison to the other side, I think is BTS, Stray Kids, because when there's a more clear position, then you know who to step up when it comes to, oh, this is our producing member. Oh, this is our rapping member. This is our translating member. You get the idea. But alright, I think that was fun for today. I hope none of the takes were too offensive to anybody. You could feel free to share your opinions, but also don't necessarily hate on Hyomis either, because I love Hyomis. I don't want random strangers online to be hating on Hyomis. I have been teared apart in Twitter, and I think it's probably gonna happen again in the future, but I don't really want Hyomis to be hated. If we are, then we're gonna have a war. Put the guards up. But thank you so much. Let me know if you have your personal hot takes on the line of not being disrespectful. Thank you.